Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. As you know, if you're a regular viewer to this channel, or in fact any photography channel, you'll know that cameras come in all shapes and sizes. So for today I thought we'd take a look at something a bit different. This is one I found as I was going through my many tubs of cameras collected over a long period of time. This one is the Fuji FZ-3000 Zoom Date. And this dates from the early 90s. This is, I think, a 91 or a 92 camera. And as you can see, it's a rather large lump of black plastic. Not my normal sort of cameras, but that's why I thought you guys might be interested in it. Well, and ladies, of course. This is what I'd class as a bridge camera. It's an all-in-one. As you can see, it has a little flash built into it. It's an autofocus camera, as it says there. It reminds me a bit of a Cyclops style camera with this sort of big eye at the front of it. It's not an SLR. It does look a bit like an SLR, but it's not an SLR. It's a viewfinder camera. The viewfinder's just over here to the side. Autofocus, which I'm presuming is what these two bumps are all about, measuring the distance, etc. As you can see, this is the way that you would hold it if you were going to use it horizontally or vertically. It's a 35mm camera. It's all electronic, runs on batteries, and those are housed on the bottom here. There's not a lot else on the bottom. There's a tripod bush, but that's about it. So this is the battery, and this uses got a Panasonic lithium CRP2 battery in it, which is 6 volts. Yes, 6 volts. So that's quite easy. It can only slot in one way round, and the cover goes back on. You know, I can get the cover back on. You know what I'm like with batteries. Push down and push in. So not a lot on the bottom, not a lot on the sides. Nothing on the front really, apart from the lens. If we look at the top here, we have dioptric adjustment, which is quite useful because I wear glasses, so that's quite useful. There is a dedicated flash. I don't have it. I only have the camera, but there is a dedicated flash that goes on the top of this and connects in through here and through here. On this side we have some buttons. This is the shutter button. I turn it on. Power switch is here. This is the shutter button, and then you can see if it thinks it needs a flash, it uses the flash. If it doesn't need the flash, it doesn't use the flash. And this has a Fuji zoom lens ranging from 38mm to 115, so a little bit wide angle to a little bit telephoto really. And then you've got these buttons at the side, so you've got that one, long zoom. You can see it's marked 115, and that's also the macro position. So that's telephoto, that's kind of medium telephoto, that's about 75mm. And then you've got this 3 images, which is the wide angle, so you can go from one extreme to the others. You've got 3 choices there. And then you also have a little toggle button here, so you can set it wherever you want to set it. The image in the viewfinder does change with it. It does zoom with it as well. You can see there's the bit that you look through the viewfinder, and when it's achieved focus you get the green light flashing. That says it's too close when it's flashing. You want a steady green light, I do believe. And maybe the flashing green light means that it's in focus. Not quite sure on that. I did read through the instructions last night, but I'm still not particularly au fait with this camera. But yeah, autofocus, auto exposure. Haven't got a clue what the apertures and the shutter speed range is. There's no dials for setting anything at all. Even the ASA and the ISO is done by DX coding, so very minimal amount of control. This, I understand, is the landscape mode, so extend it out all the way and then push on this button at the back. I think that is the landscape mode. And then you have mid-roll rewind here because the advance and the rewind is all electronic. You can see that green light's on there, so maybe that's a focus lock or something. Oh, that's interesting. It is a date time camera, so you can put in the date and it will print it onto the film for you. Unfortunately, it only runs up to 2010, so it's not really an awful lot of use. Different buttons down here that you can set the date at the bottom. So this is set up for like day, month, year, and it's different versions because of things like in America it's different, and you can set up, that's it turned off. And then you have things like the macro mode, so that's the close focusing. There is a self timer as well, so you can activate the self timer. There's no film in it, so that probably won't do anything. What's that? 2. I guess that's the time, isn't it? And then you've got things like you can disable the flash as well. They probably won't let me do that now. I'll put it back into that mode. Yeah, flash on, flash off, daylight, etc. So a very simple camera. I'll be tempted to call it a point and shoot because that's really what you do with it. You sort of point it, compose, and then take your picture. Designed for somebody who's got very minimal knowledge of photography. Probably an ideal starter camera. It's quite handy having a zoom lens though. That's quite a nice little feature. I'm not sure if you could put a lens hood on that. Probably could. Yes, there is a screw thread on there, so you could put a lens hood on it. And from what I've read up, the lens is quite a sharp lens actually. So, right, let's try popping some film in it. So we'll open the back. There's a catch on the side here. Push that down, and the whole back opens up. You can see it is really mainly plastic. It's quite lightweight. I've got to admit, I don't find it particularly comfortable to hold. And unusually, the film goes on this side, and then it feeds across to this side. But actually, when you load the film for the first time, it winds all the film across to this side, and then as you take the photographs, it takes it back into the film cassette. So if you accidentally open the back, you don't lose the pictures you've already taken. You only lose the rest of the film. So it's an interesting thing the way that it works. There you can see the pressure plate. There's a bit of foam. Oh, there's a bit of foam here. That's in quite good condition. And it's got a quick load system. As it says there, just put the film tip up to the line and close the back. And then you can see the lens there was moving. So I think that'll work off of this button here, so you can see it's not a focal plane shutter. I think it's probably a leaf shutter. There you can see the lens zooming in and out. Looks like it's a coated lens. From the 90s it should be coated. Should be multi-coated really. Right, so I've got the lens away. We stand that there. And say 35mm full frame camera, so got a roll of this Colorama Smart Film, and this is DX coded. You can tell a DX coded film because it has this sort of metal pattern on the back that gets read by those little contacts inside. So we put the film in like so. We pull that across to there. Again, you know what I'm like with loading film. Close the back up, a lot of whirring going on, and nothing. So I don't think that loaded properly. No, it didn't load properly. Oh, there we go. Right, so 24. 24 exposure film. So yeah, we've got 24 exposures left. So it counts down when you take a picture. It will then, if I take a picture, and it comes down to 23. There we go. So yeah, a very simple camera to use, ideal for somebody who maybe is just starting out or doesn't want to get involved in all the technological side and the learning side of photography to begin with. It is quite hard to get your head around sort of shutter speed, aperture, exposure, film speed, etc. But yeah, interesting camera from the early 90s. So not my normal sort of cameras that I feature, but an interesting one nonetheless. And yeah, it does feel quite creaky, but yeah, it's still working after all these years, so fair play to Fuji. So there you are, folks, that's the camera for today. Bit of a strange one. Not sure how we're going to be able to get outside and take photographs with this at the moment, but yeah, we'll get into the garden tomorrow if the weather's nice and see if we can shoot this roll of film off and see how we get on with it. Be interested to see what the macro mode's like, how close you can actually get with it. Well, thank you very much for watching. Comments, questions, queries, etc. down below as normal. Subscribe, like and share and all that usual sort of YouTubey sort of stuff, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.